coming Sunday to pick up that.
That's Doug. Kurt's. That's Kurt's minister.
Is this for the birthday girl?
This is for the birthday girl.
Happy birthday.
There we go. There's the one who's responsible for this whole thing.
What? And the grandchildren. Amy's not here.
No, I don't think I ever met.
Yeah.
There's two on the side. I don't think I ever met. I don't think.
Thank you.
It's only bad to
Yeah, we get all our bridges fixed and everything.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Okay, well, you might want to sit near.
Never here.
Right. Linda.
Yeah.
Bill.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Another
I'm another one, yeah.
Another surrogate daughter. Yeah. Oh my God, that's Billy. Okay. Billy. I'm just thinking. We've been looking at it and looking at it. I'm gonna. She hasn't seen her pictures yet. That's okay.
She doesn't have one, yeah, because it hasn't.
Yeah. I've been staring at you for 10 minutes thinking, oh good, they put the wine right on top of the wine sign.
Oh, I see why.
Of course, the first foot of it was stuck in the car to get through it.
Who voice are here? That's my baby. She's going to be singing to me.
Hey, good to see you again. Thanks again for your help last night. Hey, how are you? Good. How about yourself? Good to see you. It's been running around. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So you guys are welcome. There you go. Have a good time. That's right. Exactly right.
Can she come too? Oh,
She can
that's
come.
nice. They'll all get together. Joy, I just met her brother over here too. Yeah.
Jim's brother?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Sure.
Got another beer.
I didn't realize everybody else was drinking it. I didn't realize everyone else was having that white. No wonder I was
You only
home. I didn't have to drive.
You only have to take the road once anyway.
Yeah. That was fun.
Nice day.
Oh, God, this is absolutely wonderful. You never seen Marty in that guy.
Huh?
I used to be out on a wing playing golf.
Yeah.
I played yesterday for the first time on air.
Did you?
Yeah.
How'd you do?
Town of Agawam was that now.
Right. Yeah.
And they're saying they're supposed to be doing a lot of work up with this, a lot of taxpayers' money, but everybody says cheers.
So I can't wait.
Yeah, this is quite that was the guy.
He didn't either. He thought that, what they think they had a party here for
Well, there was supposed to be a party, Jack and Jill party.
Oh,
This is how we got her here.
I figured that was.
So how you got?
She still did not know?
No.
Boy, you're clever.
Keep it from her dad, huh?
I sat in the window where she usually sits. I sat in my chair.
So she couldn't look. All right.
Oh my God.
I am surprised. You know, she called me just the other night and was asking, and I said, she said something about her birthday, and I played. Oh my God, I'm shocked to hell. Oh my God, hi Matt. I want all the hugs I can get. I know. Oh, hey. This guy's
What was it we went to in January?
The anniversary party.
Anniversary.
Oh, that's right, Tom.
Because I didn't know anything about it.
They went hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, so Hawaii.
How you doing?
Good to see you. Hi, Bill.
Good to see you.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I guess.
No, smile. Here we go.
Oh my God. No wonder Ray took my hand. Oh, hi David. Yeah. 80 years old.
Boy, you were surprised.
Oh God, yes. Oh, we should look this is a long time, Danny. Linda Laney. Did you get that? Get that on camera.
Not anymore.
Don't. No, he's not here yet. All right.
Excuse me.
Hi,
Okay.
Rob. Robbie. I know, but he can't make it.
Okay, I did it and it didn't work.
Push it on the camera.
Oh, I told you the right button.
Okay.
You dropped it. Oh. Back there in the lawn there. I think Sarah picked it up.
That's what you're
Well, that's a camera.
Remember to go to that show? Well, woman reached my mouth. Together.
The cooler under that table there has soda. There's wine on top of it, and the cooler at the end has ice cream.
Next thing Robert Redford.
That's what they want.
I keep getting these guys.
I'm glad to see her ministry because I'm sure she does need one. She does need one. Yeah, we know that. He said she was glad to see your ministry. I'm sure you need one. Glad to meet your ministry because I know you need one.
No, he's a good square dancer, too.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, I can
Hey,
do that.
Tom, you square dance?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Wow.
She got me into it.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? Yeah.
Betty, I got that on camera.
That's
You
all
know,
right.
that's a beauty. What do you mean, enemy?
Huh?
What do you mean, enemy?
Well, you're always picking on me. Well, Joe, I wish you a happy birthday 2 weeks before. I said you got a big 80th coming up. You told me to shut up.
See, now that was very nice, Betty.
Sweet Allison, not Annie.
Happy birthday.
Oh,
Betty, there's only one question I want to ask. Do you feel any older than you felt yesterday?
Hi there. I'll go check this.
Don over here.
I know somebody who they woke up because that's where her daughter lives. So I know one day. No.
Hey, Brenda.
There's no 90 people here, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, maybe we'll go trip.
I could go over there.
It's already half open.
Okay, we're gonna do, this is your life script, so we need to be quiet. We've got videos that we're gonna be showing some old pictures that will go along with the script.
And I am obviously.
And she's the master.
I'd like to welcome everybody. My name is Bonnie Driscoll. This is my great aunt Betty. That's how I know her. That sounds terrible. That's how I know her and why I'm here in this. Everybody signed it.
That's a useful sign.
So that is for you. I'll leave that up here. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, you got the floor, Bonnie. Hurry up.
This is your card.
Yeah, I've already seen the
Okay, all the party conspirators, up, gather. Hopefully you know who you are.
What?
Who were the party conspirators? Now, I'm going to be directing this operation, so what? Okay.
Yeah, face me.
Everybody ready?
Yeah. Okay. Go.
We're giving you this party because you are so dear. We plotted and planned, we lied to you for most of this last year. We've got good friends, good food, good tunes, good memories of old. Don't worry though, we'll be discreet. Some tales should not be told.
Right.
So
to the greatest mom.
The greatest.
Santa too. The greatest aunt. The greatest.
The greatest friend.
We give this special day to you.
Oh.
You better practice run, Gas.
Oh.
Can I get up and say something?
Yeah. No, it's not scheduled.
You ever held back?
No, I don't.
Okay.
hold back
No, go ahead.
And Betty, this is your life.
Oh, God.
Wait, let us get the thing going.
We've got a
Can you see
video
this?
here, too.
Can you see the video?
You can go closer
well,
if you
why?
want.
I'll stand over here. I'll stand over here so you can see it.
Move your chair.
This thing here?
Yeah. There's nothing on it yet about this.
I know my eyes are bad, but that's ridiculous.
Okay. Are you ready? Okay. This is your life, Betty Cole. The year was 1916, and Einstein first proposed his theory of relativity. The discovery of the X-ray was announced. The Campbell Soup Kids made their debut, and on May 20th of that year, the world was blessed
Oh, yeah.
by the arrival of Elizabeth Bowden Auger. Watch the screen.
Oh, God.
What's the other two that's not working? Hold it.
Somebody turn it on.
Wait, a little boy.
Oh, my technician of a grandson.
It was?
Oh, really?
Marilyn Monroe, senior manager.
Where's the electrician?
lives of Hazel and Harry Auger, who had lost 2 other children in infancy. At a very early age, she took violin lessons, much to the auditory discomfort of those within hearing distance. On a more harmonious note, her mother also taught her to play the piano, which probably contributed to her love of singing and sense of rhythm today. Her mother died in an accident when little Betty was still quite young, and her father remarried several years later. And with the marriage came step-siblings, a brother George and a sister Mildred. Her stepmother made clothes for 2 girls, often dressing them alike, Betty in blue and Millie in pink. Oh.
Oh, there's my dad.
So take longer pause.
My sister.
Okay. Millie and Betty were very close and remained close until Millie's passing in 1992. New brother George found his pleasure was doubled now, with 2 sisters to taunt, nicknaming them Hippo and Pug.
I was Hippo. You really did some digging.
Betty spent her teenage years living on Carver Street in Springfield and attending the High School of Commerce. She graduated in 1932 at the age of 16, having skipped 2 grades in her early schooling. Now, lest we get the idea that Betty was such a brilliant student that she didn't need to attend those 2 grades, let me suggest another scenario by telling you this little anecdote. Betty, by her own admission, was a so-so student. In fact, she failed her senior English class.
Oh my God, I got no secrets.
And why, you might ask? Because she refused to do her assigned reading and book reports, because she didn't like reading the classics. Is this just a little hint of the stubborn streak that still rears its head even 64 years later? In 1932, when Betty graduated from high school, this country was still reeling from the Great Depression, and jobs were hard to come by. So at the age of 16, Betty left home to work as a live-in housekeeper and babysitter. After 3 years, she was finally able to secure a job as a secretary at an insurance agency in downtown Springfield, and moved back home to Carver Street. Much to her credit at that time, she also attended Springfield Civil Service Secretarial School. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm wondering where all this information is.
Never get to the good stuff. The CIA did
Carol. Not looking at the TV. She's not looking at the TV.
That's all right. She can look at it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. She quit her job at the insurance agency when her boss swore at her, saying something like, "Damn it, Miss Auger." She got a new job, first at another insurance agency in
Much for her.
and then at Eastern States Farmers Exchange in Arizona.
I have no secrets anymore.
There's more.
We do keep the secret.
Yeah, there's some things we haven't told.
Oh, thank
We're
God.
waiting for the 90s.
Wait for you to
In
tell all boys.
1938, when she was 22, Betty moved out of her father's house and into the YWCA. Now, this was the year of the Great Hurricane, and thanks to the resulting flood...
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not me in the front, though.
That's a flood, though.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
that's
And
bad.
thanks to the resulting flood in downtown Springfield, all the young girls at the Y were, much to their delight, rescued by the young National Guard. A great start to a new life. Nevertheless, this move set off a chain of events that would change Betty's life forever. At the Y, she met and became good friends with 2 other young women. There they are. Amy Sundgren and Nancy Levitt. The 3 women became very close and moved into a shared apartment for a while, paying the huge monthly rent of $45 for 4 furnished rooms.
How do you like that, Jen?
Then Allie married Larry Sullivan, bought a large house on Tremont Street, and invited Betty and Nancy to board with them. At the time, Nancy was dating Bob Carr, friend and neighbor of tall, dark, and handsome Carl Holmes. It was through Bob and Nancy that Betty met Carl, her first love and future husband. And I will pause here so that photo can go. Carl and Betty met when they were both 25 Street after the engagement, as it was not proper for an engaged girl to be on her own. And of course, we know Betty is nothing if not proper.
Right. Got that, Bonnie.
You'll learn things every day.
Betty and Carl were married at Emmanuel Church in Springfield in an afternoon ceremony on February 6, 1943. It was a miserable, snowy, slushy winter day, but this less than perfect start was the beginning of a solid and happy 30-year marriage. 38.
Yeah.
Betty was wed in a gown of bridal satin and imported lace that she made herself. Sister Millie served as matron of honor in a aqua satin and chiffon.
When she was pregnant for 5 months with your mother.
Tell us that. That's not in the script.
I know, you're steering away from the script here.
I'm trying to slow you down.
Nancy Levitt and Carl's sister Marion attended as bridesmaids in pink satin and chiffon. Aunt Betty, Nancy, who now lives in California and was unable to be here today, sent all of these.
Yes, I saw them. Isn't that great?
What's this about my sister being in an accident, huh?
Yeah. In your own words, even.
Oh, really?
Also, Marion Carl was Okay.
I guess half the people here could say
wedding
that.
was because Betty's youngest granddaughter, Sarah, will sing this for us tonight. Sarah?
You can do it, Carol.
I did it before.
I think it's rewound.
Betty worked as a bookkeeper at Pratt & Whitney in East Hartford at the time. Carl worked as an electrical foreman at Van Norman Machine Tool in Springfield. Because he got out of work earlier, he helped with the housework and stayed until Betty got home. From the time she first met them, Betty was very close to her mother and father-in-law. and they loved her dearly. However, on one occasion, the young couple stayed at his parents' house while they were away. Betty pushed the envelope once again, deciding to liven up her mother-in-law's kitchen. She painted everything that wasn't nailed down, pots and pans, utensils, doorknobs, whatever she could get her hands on. And what color did she paint them?
Red. They look pretty, too. But they kept coming off of the dish towels, too.
Well, her mother-in-law forgave her in time, and the kitchen was eventually returned to a more comfortable, subdued color. Betty's relationship with her in-laws remained closer than family until their passing many years later. By 1944, with their first child soon to make her appearance, Betty and Carl realized their small apartment by the coal yard was not appropriate. They bought a small two-bedroom house on Cooley Street in Springfield. Out in the woods at that time, it was from this house that their first child, Carol, made her entrance. After a wild ride by a very nervous father-to-be, ignoring stop signs, stopped by the police, and finally escorted by the police to the hospital. All of this after a detour, of course, to drop the dog off.
Imagine having the dog sit in your pregnant lap.
The family grew again with the less frantic arrival of son Ray in 1948. Ray's got to come. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I've never been told I speak too quietly. So. There. Not that he didn't make up for it in later years for this less exciting initial entrance. Emergency room trips and a variety of unusual pets marked his childhood as one to be remembered.
Where's Joan?
Snakes.
You know about those.
Betty stayed at home with her young children, but kept working by taking in sewing. She did. She did professional tailoring, made costumes for a dance studio, cheerleader outfits for schools, and worked for Earl's Wallpaper, making drapes and slipcovers. She also took several night school courses, everything from tooling leather to upholstery to toll painting.
Painting on metal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We certainly have a multi-talented lady here, as I'm sure we all are aware.
Never mind buttering me up.
Throughout her children's lives, Betty was also active in working with and for young children. She was very involved with her children's school and active in the PTA at White Street School from 1950 to 1954. In 1951, she began a long affiliation with the Girl Scouts.
Oh my Godfrey.
With the snake? With the snake?
Oh, is that the one with the snake?
As a Brownie leader, then Girl Scout leader and counselor at Dyer Brook Camp in 16 Acres. Her niece, Sue, over there.
Oh, yeah.
Sue, her niece, Sue, who is right.
Yeah, want to go for brook hike?
Millie's daughter remembers with great fondness the years at Dyer Brook, with her Aunt Betty as her counselor and mentor, teaching her the tough rules of life and how to cope in a less than perfect world. And evidently how to handle the snakes of the world, too. As the last picture, there was a snake.
Two-legged ones, too.
By and large, life was less frantic back then, and Sundays were usually set aside to visit with friends and family. The young family often made the long trip to Midfield, Connecticut, to spend a Sunday afternoon with Betty's relatives, Kenneth and Laura Auger, and their son, Robert. Laura and Robert have made the long trip today to be here, and we thank them for coming. There were also frequent Sunday visits to Holyoke to spend time with Franny and Muriel Donahue and their three boys and their 3 girls. Muriel, who now lives in California, has also written to us, remembering one such visit that erupted into a free-for-all pillow fight, with Betty in the midst of the action, of course. Pillows broke apart, resulting in a flurry of feathers, much to the delight of the children, including our never-grow-up heroine. That would be you.
What?
The extended families of both Betty and Carl were also very close. Millie, now a single mother, and niece Nuisance, I would say. Denise and Suzanne spent much of their time with the family, and the Polk household became like a second home, a special haven. Carl's sister Marion, her husband Bob, and their children, which eventually...
We're waiting. We tried to time this. Yeah. I don't know. Stephen's in charge of that.
Stephen's the one that's blown up there.
Okay.
Oh my God.
The extended families of both Betty and Carl, Carl's sister Mary and her husband Bob and their children, which eventually numbered 5, were together with the Polks so much that the family lines often became blurred. In fact, Betty, being the only one with light hair and eyes, was sometimes mistaken for the outsider in the otherwise dark-haired, dark-eyed family group. That's Betty behind the door.
And Linda's taking the picture, so she's not in there.
That's right, I'm not in there?
No. You gave it to me.
You're lucky.
The little neighborhood on Cooley
We'll show you what she
Street
looks like later on.
for 10 years was a close-knit group. Children playing at each other's homes and adults getting together often. Each Christmas Eve, the adult neighbors had a party at one of the homes. After tucking their children safely in bed and leaving them in charge of Carl's aunt, Gussie, Betty and Carl would join to celebrate the holiday. However, it became a tradition that after only 1 or 2 drinks, Southern Comfort being the beverage of choice, Betty would be insisted home to sleep it off. She never could hold her liquor. Christmas morning would see Betty, with throbbing head and blurred eyes, grimacing beside the Christmas tree, as baby dolls cried, train whistles blew, pull toys quacked or barked, or whatever they did, and her children giggled and squealed with delight. By Christmas night, however, she was back in the good form, and it was off to spend the evening with Carl's sister's house, where cousins could play, adults could recover, and the annual photos of the kids could be taken.
Hold it. We haven't got the annual photos of the kids yet. Here we go.
Oh,
Look at Joey.
Looks like Mikey. You.
look at the tree. Can you believe it? Psychedelic tree. That was our Christmas.
It had one of them lights with the round thing that changed the color.
Okay. By 1955, with their 2 children growing toward the teen years, Betty and Carl realized that their little 2-bedroom house was not sufficient. So they bought land from Ellie and Larry Sullivan and built a new house in Hamden. Betty worked to build the house side by side with her husband, and even today, her flesh and blood is embedded in the framework of the house.
I can show you 2 places.
After a very cramped winter in a 1-room rented bungalow, the family moved into their new home in the spring of 1956. Thus, new doors were opened for Betty to become involved in the life of this small town in a way few had experienced before or since. Everyone knew Betty Polk, especially the young people. She continued to be active in her children's schools. She was also very involved with the women's group in her church, served as secretary to the planning board for a time, helped out at the recreation field in the summer, and get this, she even coached the girls' softball team in town. They didn't win any games, but they sure had. Betty also continued to work with the Girl Scouts. In fact, it was through her initiative and hard work that the Scouts published and sold the first Hamden telephone directory. Betty actually typed all of the names and numbers at home on her manual typewriter. Quite a difference from the computerized printing done today. This directory is still being published, but has since been taken over by the Hamden Lions Club. In the same year that the Polk family moved to Hamden, Joan and Jim Little had also moved into the neighborhood. Joan and Betty became fast friends, a friendship that still blossoms today, some 40 years later. Joan and Jim's children and grandchildren were, and are, very important people in Betty's lives. And we thank Joan and Jim for opening their home for our celebration here today.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. After their move to Hampton, Carl and Betty became avid square dancers, dancing almost every weekend with Hampton promenaders. At the request of several teenagers in town, Betty organized and shepherded a teenage square dance group called the Jeans and Queens. This may be her crowning success outside of her family. She is still in contact with several now middle-aged people who were part of that group, some of whom are here today, and many more still remember with great fondness their teenage square dance years with Betty as their advisor and inspiration. In 1961, Betty's world turned upside down when Carl had his first heart attack. Two more followed in 1964 and 1966. Each time, months of anguish followed until recovery seemed sure. But after the first one, he could no longer work as an electrician, and their relatively comfortable lifestyle became a thing of the past. Betty had to go back to work, and was fortunate enough to find a job as a bookkeeper at Carl Libby's office, right around the corner from her house.
They're not here. No, they're supposed to be.
Carl and Joyce Libby are... they're not today. We just determined that. With this convenient location, Betty could still be available to her family when they needed her. After several mismatched job attempts, Carl eventually started his own business as an electrical contractor, hiring and teaching others to do what he physically could not. Two of the young men he taught, who also became like family to Betty, are here today. Craig Little and John Kirby.
Craig, where's John?
John, you're right on the floor again.
Throughout those rocky years of Carl's unemployment, mismatched employment, and business startup, Betty continued to be the main support financially and morally for her family. Daughter Carol, who's here, married in 1964, and son Ray went off to college in 1966, leaving a big void in Betty's life. Until 1969, when first grandson Billy arrived and filled his grandmother's heart again with his youthful exuberance. Ray graduated from Worcester Polytech in 1970 and married Janet Smith that summer. Janet? Okay. Janet. 2 years later, Ray and Janet break Betty's life with the first
Granddaughter.
granddaughter, Amy. Also here today. As if this weren't enough, 3 more grandchildren followed. David in 1975, who cannot be here today because he had to work. Stephen in 1976, and Sarah, our songbird, in 1977. Betty's life was now overflowing again with love for her 5 grandchildren. And in Stephen looks like one of the most... In 1975, Carl and Betty realized a long-time dream, buying a lot on Fry Island in Maine, and began to build a lakeside cottage. Carl was the happiest he had ever been, working on his cottage near the beautiful waters of Spago Lake, often assisted by family and friends. Almost every weekend in the summer, Betty drove the nearly 200 miles after work on Friday to help her husband for the weekend.
That show.
Then back home on Sunday and back to work on Monday. Certainly a grueling schedule, but one she happily kept to help her husband in attaining this dream. In September of 1980, with the cottage nearing completion, Betty and Carl was struck another blow when he was diagnosed with myasthenia gravis. Due to related complications, his health failed rapidly during the fall of 1980, and in January of 1981, he succumbed to heart failure during an operation. After 38 wonderful years of marriage, Betty was alone again. With the love and support of her family and close friends, Betty survived the many months of grief and depression, and came out on the other side with a renewed zest for life. She continued singing with the Sweet Adelines and began bowling and square dancing again. You're reading too fast. I have 3 siblings. She's going talk fast.
Hey, there she is. Oh my God.
continued to work as a bookkeeper, volunteered as a mentor at the local grammar school, became active again in her church, and in her spare time, she continued her knitting and sewing. By now, in her late 60s, Betty also began to date again. There's nothing holding back this bundle of life. In 1984, she met the second love of her life at a square dance class, when Don Sams... Hey, Don! When Don Sams walked into the room with his shy smile and shock of white hair, Betty's heart went ka-thump. If Don had wanted to get away, he couldn't. And he didn't. It was a slow start, but Betty and Don have been the best part of each other's lives now, 10 years. Sharing family time together, quiet and not so quiet, times together, bowling and square dancing together, and traveling the Western Hemisphere together. So here we are today, celebrating 80 active, giving, and inspiring years of life. A life certainly filled with highs and lows, but all in all, a glorious life. More secrets could have been revealed here, but discretion seemed the best choice for now. Perhaps at the 100th birthday party, we'll reveal some more things.
Can we have the 100 here, John?
So until then, happy birthday. We all love you.
Great for Halloween.
She's gonna be a movie star. She should have done the glam.
There you go. How is it, Betty?
Huh?
How's the food?
Oh, it's delicious.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't have to cook it, that's why.
Come away with me, Lucille, in my merry Oldsmobile. Down the road of life we'll fly, automobile bring you and I. To the church we'll swiftly steal, then our wedding bells will peal. You can go as far as you like with me in my merry Oldsmobile.
Now we can cut the cake.
Sing.
I don't want to cut the cake.
Betty.
Oh, yeah. I don't know where they...
We got cake and ice cream.
Hey, Betty, cut the cake.
Make the first cut. Make the first cut.
Gotta get this stuff out of the way. You want to watch me cut the cake there, Charlie?
Oh, I gave that away.
Oh, you see what it says? Can you read what it says? Can you read it? Happy
I'm sorry. Sorry, Carol.
Okay.
That's it.
Water and I mixed it. Oh boy, here
You want that part? Well, we'll wait and see.
That's a good
Now makes you make me really...
That's how I take it.
Oh, she is cutting it.
Right, feed the room or something.
I don't know, but I'm in line. Okay, you better go. You want that one? With the flower hat?
Tell you the truth.
Hey, Jess, Here's a plate.
PX in the water the other
Here you go. Okay.
There was Charlie.
Take that back to
Me and Charlie
Okay.
went out on a tour. The SP and the G.
Okay, where's the plate?
We got.
You got a customer right behind you, Betty.
Right here. Oh. I want one with
Ho, ho.
Oh, you can tell your dog. I moved to Arkansas. You can tell your dog about my leg. Or tell your brother Cliff. His fist will tell my lip. He never really liked me anyway. Or tell your Aunt Louise. Tell anything you please. Myself already knows I'm not okay. Or you can tell my eyes to watch out for my mind. It might be walking out on me today. But don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart. I just don't think he'd understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, he might blow up and kill his man. Ooh, wait.
Yeah, okay.
Happy birthday. Okay, great. I was talking to Don about that. That was possible.
Yeah, we will take it. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming down.
Hey, great Aunt Betty.
What?
They're my ride. They're making me go.
No, no. Okay.
I am.
Don't trust her. Don't trust her.
Take care. You're going to have to serve faster than that, Betty.
Oh, you want a piece of it too?
You gotta sneak in there and get a piece of cake.
There's some ice cream.
Betty.
Yes. Would you like some cake?
Sure.
Okay.
Birthday cake, we gotta have some.
Yeah, and I'm gonna. Okay. Well, you can have the flower. Okay. Here, you can have the flower. I mean, you can have the green.
Thank you.
My fingers and all.
Yeah, John got you with your fingers there. Licking your fingers. That doesn't quite work. Yes, it does. It gives us, yeah, all we need is a little taste.
Oh, well, that's not all I need.
Me either.
She's being a lady about it.
We'll take care.
Want some cake?
Yeah.
Breeze from Ireland. Are perfumed by the heather as they blow. And the women in the uplands digging pretty.
Hi, Jake.
Speak a language that the strangers do not know. For the strangers came
Oh, that'll be like your partner? You don't like your dancing partner? Oh. I said his partner doesn't like him. He cried.
We'll see you, Laura. So long. Bye, Robert.
Come on. Up two.
Thanks for flying my face. Don't touch me because you'll throw me on the floor.
Come on, Don. Get with the program.
Come on, Don. No.
Somebody stole my cake.
Yes, Don, you can't purple on a birthday. Okay, Joe.
Who's that girl?
Okay, just go ahead.
Oh, I will. I don't even know what it is.
diamond rings and all those things. Well, you bet your life it isn't hers. But could she woo? Could she do? Has anybody seen my girl? 5'2", eyes of blue, but oh what?
Party's over.
That's better known as a sea hag.
Yeah, right.
Betty, this was a great birthday party, and I wish you a very happy 80th.
And be there at my 90th.
That's right, we will be.
Right.
We'll be there at your
I want to be
90th.
around.
And you
Yeah.
take good care of yourself.
I
And
will.
keep that boyfriend of yours happy. You know.
What do you mean by that?
Take that any way you want to.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Well, at our age, I can take it another way.
Well, we're going to get the same pastry, and that's part of our gift.
Oh,
Eric's going to
great.
be driving June 1st. And Jessica. Can't go far. I don't think it'll go to
Oh, that's wonderful. Who's that?
You have a
Eric.
VCR, don't you?
Yes, but it's broken.
Oh, it's broken?
Well,
You'll have to
I
look
don't
at
know.
it.
I've got-
Well, how would the
I'm
kid
gonna
get
take
you
it
a
into,
VCR for your birthday?
I've got
Oh, he
it.
doesn't what?
She has one, but she probably doesn't know what's wrong
It's a
with it.
brand new
It's
one.
probably not broken.
I got no. It won't do something.
Okay, Betty. Well, happy birthday again.
Thank
And
you
we'll see
very
later.
much, and I'm glad you came. Glad everybody came.
Me too.